MacVoices at NAB Show 2025. MacVoices is at NAB Show in Las Vegas. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, I have a unique privilege of sitting down with Karen Chupka, the EVP of, I want to make sure I get it right, of Global Connections and Events.
It's long.
It's a nice long title. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have nothing else to do this week but talk to me.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and welcome to NAB Show.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure. I've been doing this for a number of years, and when I got the opportunity to talk to you, I really thought about that, how many years I've come and how NAB Show has evolved out of necessity because the industry has changed so much. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you about your position, Global Connections. I mean, what exactly does this mean? I love these titles that, they could be a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about what do we do here at a show, right? We're helping people meet each other and connect with each other. And so Global Connections and Events is kind of the team that puts these shows on. We do this one here in Las Vegas. We have one in New York as well in October. And yes, so at this show, we have 60,000 people registered for the show, and about 27% of them are coming from outside the United States. And so it is literally a global show.
You're right. I mean, you can't walk down the hall without hearing half a dozen different languages, that some of which you might be able to identify, some you're not so sure about. But that's part of the fun, I think, is meeting the people from all over the world, because you have this common connection of media creation.
That's absolutely true. And what's kind of interesting too is we have, like I just mentioned, that we have all these people coming from outside the United States. But what's also interesting is they're coming here sometimes to learn from the best and the best, because they do feel like the U.S. has such a great, media presence, knowledge, a lot of just knowledge even on how to capture and tell stories. And so I think that's the other thing that's interesting, is they're coming here because they really feel like we have some of the best of the best.
And I've taken advantage of some of the training here, and that's why I keep coming back maybe a day or two early to continue to do that training, because the training tracks are amazing, the people are amazing, and I always go away with something new that I can use.
And that's wonderful to hear. And you're right. We have, it's interesting. We have 20 stages throughout the show floor this year, and something like 550 sessions. But there's hands-on sessions that literally teach you how to use the tools and the technology. And then there's just, sessions that teach you about the business side of it, or how to do something differently. And we have a lot of filmmakers and producers and things like that who come here and just share their craft. So there's really a lot of different education components happening. And I can't not miss this part, which is like yesterday we had an astronaut speaking, and we had somebody from the International Space Station on one of our sessions at our Be It conference. So we literally have speakers from out of this world.
You've been waiting all day to use that line.
I have.
That's perfect. That's
Thank
perfect.
you. You made my day.
So my time primarily is spent on the show floor, talking to the vendors and all. But you're right, the press conferences, the special presentations, it's almost too much to take in. You really have to prioritize what your interests are and where you get the most value. And that's a good kind of challenge, but it's still a challenge.
It is. And, some of the sessions that we are doing here, we do make available after the fact, that you can come and see them on our website. So there will be some content that we're capturing for people to see, so especially some of the things that are happening on our main stages. And, but, it is something where you do have to prioritize. We have an app to help you do that. But, I at the end of the day, we want everybody walking away saying, wow, I wish I could have seen it all.
I've been through the app. I keep picking things, and, and then I look at the schedule and it's like, okay, and I'm not going to sleep, and I'm not going to get to half of them, because there's so much great stuff here.
Yeah, I just did that this morning. I was looking at something, I was like, oh, I really wanted to catch that, and I missed that session. So even I don't always get to see everything I want to see. But no, I think that's also because of the diversity of what's happening in the industry, right? And I think what you're finding here is that if you're a storyteller, we have all the tools, technologies, know-how to help you better tell your stories. And that's whether you're doing it either from TikTok to TV or the big screen. Everything is here at NAB Show.
So how do you, I know how I feel like the show has evolved from my perspective, but my perspective is very limited. You have a much more global perspective on everything. How do you feel it's evolved, and how has it had to evolve?
Well, I think, again, the interesting thing that's happening industry-wide, right, is, we're in a digital age. Everybody's using video and audio to tell their stories. Look at podcasting, look at everything, like I said, just from TikTok up, right? And so it's actually evolved in that way, in the fact that so many more people are empowered to be able to use the technologies to tell their stories. And the tools that you're using have also changed and made it easier for people to do it. So you can be an entrepreneur or a single person coming here and doing a broadcast live, right? And that's a big difference from going into a studio, which we also have all that great equipment too, right? So it's the fact that you could come in here and sort of start your career, and we can help you advance it as you grow.
I think that's a really interesting point. The solo production that I do versus all the nice toys that are on the show floor that I'd love to have but will never have the need for.
Right.
It's such a range. But you address all of those needs, no matter what level I'm at, whether I'm a Hollywood producer or I'm just some guy with a microphone. There's something here for me.
Yeah. And I was, one of the areas that I also find kind of fun and interesting to see is the Cine Central area down in North Hall. And that is literally the cameras and equipment that they use to make movies. And we have world-class, cinematographers coming in and teaching people how to use that. And just to watch somebody take that for the first time and try it out is really fun to do. And maybe you'll never get to use that again, but at least you had that experience and you got to try it and know what it's like. And so I think that's the other interesting thing about NAB Show.
So how about you? How did you get into this?
Well, so kind of interesting. I've only been with NAB now for 14 months, and so I'm still learning a lot of the industry. But I had worked at CES for many, many years, and so I've got to watch the whole technology evolution kind of happen before me, and then had the honor and privilege to come here and work at NAB Show. That's
great, and the two are so similar, but they're so different.
Yes,
because they both have such huge reaches, and just different. They reach in different directions. Part of the time they reach in the same. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's the interesting thing of it, is that there was, here you're getting just a directed, complete, immersive experience in, storytelling, broadcast, and everything else. But a lot of the things cross over, right? And that's kind of what's interesting about the whole media and entertainment landscape now, is it's also changing, and so we have to address that as a show as well. This is very unfair, but I'll ask it anyway. Where do you see it going from here? Well, I think that's so. Some of the things that we're leaning into this year are kind of the 5 trends that are really changing what's happening in the industry, and so that's looking at the creator economy and building more out for the creator economy. Streaming technologies, sports. Live sports is driving so much viewership, and there's just so much happening in it. Some of the people that we had speaking this morning actually was Gotham Chopra from Religion of Sports. That's actually a company that he co-founded with Tom Brady and Michael Strahan, and they really do in-depth docuseries on high-performance athletes, right? So that whole part of storytelling is becoming so important, even in the sports world. And then cloud virtualization, which is allowing people to be able to store in a cloud and do really fabulous things without having to travel the world to do it. So I find it interesting that I didn't hear AI in there.
Oh, AI is in there.
Okay.
I forgot it. I just forgot it.
Okay. I thought, wow, really? What did I miss?
In there.
That's I think one of the biggest challenges I hear, both positive and negative, that how is this going to affect our industry for the good and not maybe for the not so good.
I think anytime a new technology comes out, people are always a little bit like, oh no, what does this mean, right? But at the end of the day, you still need the people and the expertise to be able to use it properly. And that's key, right? But there are things that it will do really well for you too. I had somebody telling me that during COVID, they were, especially when they were, filming in California and Hollywood and everything, they had limited crew that could actually work. And so using AI to help make sure that they could schedule just crew because there was limited people and you couldn't burn them out, that was able to help them to do that. And that's what got them through some of these periods. So I definitely think that there are things that are going to make it very helpful. And there's still going to be things that require people who have real skill and craft to make those nuances. So it's just merging those two that get a little uncomfortable until we get there.
That's a really great phrase, merging the two, and we're uncomfortable because, but I think we saw that when podcasting first came out, and the more digital tools as opposed to the analog tools, that there was a discomfort level, and the discomfort level's gone because people recognize just what they can do with these amazing tools.
Yes, and you know, when you also look at like who's doing what now, I mean, like some of the attendees we have coming here because they work for a financial institution and they're using video to tell their brand stories, or they're working in a fashion industry, or they're working in the healthcare industry. I mean, the nice thing is that all of this equipment and this change in technology has really made it so that everybody can use video to tell their stories, and so it's actually just made a bigger audience than maybe we've had in the past.
Yeah, it is funny how everybody's in show business now,
in a sense.
Of one kind or another.
Exactly.
And I guess we can thank the pandemic for that. People that I know people would never have gotten on camera before. They had no choice; they had to, and now they're as comfortable as anybody that spends their life in front of a camera.
It's true, and then it's also interesting because it also, think about like. Even telling the news years ago, you kind of had to schedule these things, but like literally people are able to react immediately with the camera or, what they have in their phone, and they have a couple pieces of equipment that they could get great audio and everything else and be able to report immediately. And so that's also changed things. And it made it a little bit easier in some instances. You're not hauling around as much big equipment.
Yeah, but there's still people that, haul the big equipment and
absolutely.
they need to. They need to. They need to.
And I think that's the interesting part of it too, is if you're walking and you get to play with some of those bigger, those big broadcast quality cameras, especially like for sports and stuff, they're literally going from a tight shot to a wide shot within a second, right? And that takes a much different type of piece of equipment than your phone is going to take. Yeah. So getting the opportunity to try that out and just understand even how that works is really cool. I got to do that for the first time, so that's why I remember it and talk about it.
So now you want to be a sports broadcaster?
I'm not sure that, but I think I make people dizzy trying to do it, so I still need to hone my craft.
Yeah, but you're right. You exposed yourself to it, and now you understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
sort of on that basis, to wrap it up, we're here at NAB Show 2025. People are going to see this after the fact. Why should they plan to come to NAB Show 2026?
Oh, well, I think it's because, as I talked about the 5 trends that are changing things, they're going to continue to change and evolve. And we, as the show, are going to continue to help you find the tools and the technologies to meet your needs to do it. That's great. That's great. Karen, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great show. You too. It's nice to meet you, and thank you for the tip on the Uber. You're welcome. That. Private joke, folks. This is MacVoices. I'm Chuck Joyner at NAB Show in Las Vegas. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.